What up, YouTube? Alright, so I'm going to answer a question that I've been getting multiple times kind of in my my inbox on YouTube and my inbox on Instagram. And I actually had it on Snapchat earlier today. You know who you are if you follow my Snapchat. If not, definitely be sure to follow my Snapchat. I'll post the username up in the description on this video. But the question that I get most often, aside from everything else, is was it worth lifting my truck? Was the money worth it? Was it worth it? And I'm gonna start from the beginning of why I wanted to do it, and exactly my thought process was, and all that stuff. So I'll answer the question in kind of a lengthy way, but I'll get down. I'll cover some points that you should really think about before you try to lift it, and as well as kind of what I wish that I would have done ahead of time, before spending all the money on the lift and having it installed. So let's go. So I've had my truck lifted for probably, I think maybe 2 or 3 years. I think we're approaching 3 years, maybe come May or June, one of those two, I don't remember. But basically the reason behind it, I wanted my truck lifted for probably 2 years before it actually happened. And that 2 years was, spent saving money, coming up with ideas, and just hunting around, doing reviews, or watching reviews and reading reviews on lift kits, all that stuff. So but basically the reason that I wanted to do it was because I was tired of the truck being so small. To me the truck was small. I already had it pretty nice. It was already kept up. The paint was phenomenal, it still is. And I was already trying to make it my own. Now this truck, like I've said before, has been in my family since 2002, and it's something that's really sentimental to me. So when people ask me, when am I going to sell it, or when am I going to trade it in and get something new, the answer is always, more than likely, I'm not going to, unless somebody offers me a ridiculous amount of money, like $10,000 diesels with 400,000 miles on them. Stuff like that. If somebody offers me 10, 12, $1,000, somebody wants it really, really that badly, I might consider it. I mean, I'm definitely not saying yes or no. I'm not saying I'm going to sell it. I'm not saying I'm not going to sell it. But if somebody offers me that substantial amount of money, I will probably think very, very long and very, very hard about it, because that's a lot of money for a 20-year-old truck. And if somebody wants to pay that much, obviously they might want it maybe a little bit worse than I do, but I don't know. But sentimental value to me. And sorry for the text message noises, by the way. I know that pop up in a lot of my videos, and I hate the fact that they go over the video. But sentimentally, we've done, this truck was in my family. There was a lot of road trips taken in this truck, a lot of fishing trips, a lot of hunting trips taken when I was a kid, when my dad had it, and everything. So truck means a lot to me. So I'm probably going to keep it for as long as I can and keep on doing what I'm doing to it. So secondly, I just wanted to lift it. I wanted to make it like the newer trucks. You see all those newer trucks out with the 6-inch lifts, the 12-inch lifts, 14-inch lifts, all that good stuff, 35-inch tires, 20-inch wheels. I guess it's 22 or 24 now. There were 20s were popular back when I got the lift done, so everybody's kind of moved forward. But I wanted to take the old truck and modernize it and bring it into the new style. The new lifted, big tires, wide wheels, bigger wheels style that everybody's doing. Back when I first got this truck, if you go back through and find my oldest videos, the truck had 15-inch wheels on it. It had 33-inch tires, 32.5s. It was sitting stock, just leveled just a little bit by cranking the torsion bars up. That's the thing that people did back in like the 90s, the 2000s. And all that. And, so I started off by adding up all my stuff, my tow mirrors, I added everything, and then I went towards the big lift. And, I just wanted it to be, sitting right here. The bed, the end of the bed comes up to my shoulder. At the time, when I got this lifted, the thing looked huge. It looked massive. But right now, it's not big enough for me anymore. I feel like it needs to go a couple inches taller. I think if it's set at 9 inches or 10 inches, it probably would be, it'd be good, and there's probably a joke in there somewhere at 9 or 10 inches, but, whatever. But, so I got it lifted, and, I paid to have it installed, You know, and I know a lot of you guys give me a lot of shit about paying somebody to have it installed because it's supposedly so easy. When I've seen people take weeks and weeks to install their lift kits and everything, I just figured, you know, pay a little bit extra, have somebody that knows how to do it, get it done in a day, and I can pick it up the next day. Because this is my daily driver. I don't have time for it to sit down, you know, to be, you know, taken apart in pieces for weeks, especially when I only have maybe weekends to work on them. And you know, so that's why I did that. But anyway, got it lifted, and then the next step was to get the tires and wheels on it, and you know, boom, this is the way it's been sitting for a couple of years. And now I'm tired of it. I want to go a little bit bigger. I want to change it up a little bit, and you know, all comes down to money. But what I wish that I did, and what I really recommend everybody else do that's wanting to lift their old body style trucks or even the new style trucks, you know, I went with Rough Country because it was affordable, it was popular, you know, and for most of the reviews that I read, you know, some really good things about it, and you know, I read some, you know, kind of negatives, and everybody's going to have a negative. But if I were to do it all over again, I would definitely save up a little bit more money and go with like a BDS or a Zone suspension, or even a Super Lift, just because of all of the little issues that it gives you later on down the road. And the little issues I'm talking about is, you know, it really eats up ball joints. And I know just not just because of the lift, but any truck, you know, any lift is probably going to eat up ball joints because they're not meant to have bigger tires. And I know that, but you know, I wish I would have upgraded the ball joints ahead of time. First and foremost, or at the same time, I wish I would have gotten the BDS or even the full throttle lift kit to eliminate this camber issue that I've had nonstop. Because once you put this lift on, it maxes out your control arm bushings to where you've got the camber. And you know, when you go get it aligned, I mean, as of right now, everybody always tells me to get an alignment. Guys, this thing is aligned as close as they can get to perfect. And the only reason they can't get rid of that camber issue is just because of those upper bushings. That's why I bought those new bushings for those AC Delcos. And you know, that's one thing that I wish I would have looked into, is that some of the other companies don't have that issue. Like the issue I have here, where the shocks, on the bottom of the shocks, they hit the upper control arm. Superlift doesn't have that. You know, BDS doesn't have that. The CV shaft angles are a little bit straighter on all the other lift kits. And you know, before spending your money on just the Rough Country, definitely look into maybe seeing if it's possible for you to upgrade to a BDS or a Zone. Or Zone and BDS are the same thing. Or, you know, if you really want to go all out, get a full throttle, because they've got the best ride, you know, the best ride quality out there. Rough Country's ride sucks horribly. I'm going to tell you that right now. The ride on this truck it feels like I'm riding on a sack of potatoes or a carton of eggs, because, you know, it's just every little bump. I could feel every little bump. Every little thing jerks you around. It doesn't ride like stock at all. And I don't know if that would just happen over time, or if maybe just this year I've noticed it a little bit more, or maybe my shocks are wearing out. I don't know, but the shocks are only a couple years old. But it is very rough. The name Rough Country suits it because it's a rough ride. And you know, my buddies that have a Super Lift or a full throttle or a BDS, they don't have that issue. And I would definitely enjoy not having that issue. But, you know, those are just some things to think about. And, you know, that's the thing, some of the things that I wish that I would have thought about and I would have considered before getting this Rough Country put on. But overall, you know, I definitely don't regret lifting the truck at all. I never wish that I can go back to stock. There's some people on the old body style pages that say that they're ready to go back to stock. Guys, there's no way. I've made too many changes and went too far ahead on this to try to take it back to stock. And my goal is to one of these days get it nice enough to where I could drive it down to Lone Star Throwdown, and, you know, people will take notice of it. I mean, around here, Springfield, people do take notice of it just because it's different. It's got light up headlights, color changing halos. It's lifted. You know, on the internet, you know, Instagram, people like it because it's different. I've got now, you know, almost 12,000 followers just because it's different, and that's a 20-year-old truck. So, you know, I wouldn't change it. But to completely simply answer everybody's question is, you know, is it worth lifting? I mean, in my opinion, yes. If you have a nice truck, if you have a truck that doesn't have a bunch of rust all over it, I'd say lifted. But if you have a truck that's 20 years old, 20 years old, and you've got rusted out rocker panels, rusted out cab corners, rusted out doors, I don't think it'd be worth lifting, guys. You need to take care of your rust problems way before you even think about spending $2,000 on a lift, and another $2,000 on tires and wheels. Some of you guys out there, you lift those trucks, and you put a lot of money into these trucks, and you don't fix your rust. Body work and the way the truck looks definitely helps. And you'll get a lot of people that they'll make fun of you because you lifted a rusted out truck on stock wheels or whatever. And in my opinion, if you have rusted out rocker panels, rusted out quarter panels, rusted out doors, I'd fix that first before anything. But anyway, that's pretty much my point of view as far as lifting the truck goes. And is it worth it? To me it is, because that's what I wanted. And just do it if you want to do it, and just weigh your options. Look at other lifts, look at other companies. Just do your research before, that way you don't run into surprises later. But there we go.